Today I'm going to be making a video that not a single one of you asked for. Also, welcome back. Hello everyone and welcome back to a long overdue Seungkwannacry video. In case you weren't already aware, the last video on this channel was uploaded over 2 years ago. I'm not sure why we stopped. We had a lot of ideas in the pipeline that we wanted to make, and I don't know, life caught up with us, but now my boredom has caught up with me, so I decided to sit down and work on some of those old projects, mostly for my own enjoyment, but hopefully for your enjoyment as well. Being said, welcome, or welcome back. My name is Jackie, I'm the primary host of Seungkwannacry, and today we are going to be talking about the many cars that feature in K-pop music videos. Which may sound really random and uninteresting, but I don't know, cars are cool. No, but seriously, I love cars. Ever since I first saw The Fast and the Furious back in 2019, which is weirdly enough the year that I also got into K-pop. Anyways, ever since watching that movie, I've loved everything about the world of modifying, working on, and driving cars. And as such, one thing that's always a nice treat in any K-pop music video is seeing a really cool car in it. And for the approximately one of you who might care, this is my car. It started as a 2004 Honda Accord, and while it still is for the most part, I have done a lot to it. New wheels, new suspension, rebuilt engine, turbocharged, retuned ECU, full custom exhaust. It's a very different car than how it started. Yeah, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it makes all the right noises. But anyways, that's enough of me rambling. Let's get into the damn video. My drink matches my shirt. Isn't that cool? Alright, coming up first on our list are two personal favorites of mine, the Toyota GT86 featuring In My Pace by Stray Kids. The Toyota GT86, also sold as the Scion FRS in Super BRZ, is probably the perfect car to feature in a Stray Kids music video. At least old school Stray Kids. If you know, you know. The car has become a cult classic ever since its launch in 2013. With its lightweight, superb handling, and wide variety of aftermarket parts, it has become loved by many a car enthusiast in the modern generation. While many did complain about the car's lack of power, it was still a successful enough car to get a second generation in 2020, and while that one does have a better engine and does kind of objectively look cooler, I'll never forget the original. It was what I grew up with. It really is a car made for car enthusiasts, many of who probably feel like Stray Kids themselves. That was such a dumb line. Why did I write that? The GT86 In My Pace features a Rocket Bunny wide body kit, BBS style mesh wheels, and some form of aftermarket suspension. And yes, Rocket Bunny is a real thing. That is an actual company. It's a company that makes wide body kits and other aero pieces for a variety of Japanese cars, and actually a lot of other cars now. Also shown on the car is a logo for Federal Tires, which is a Taiwanese tire company who are reasonably popular in the aftermarket scene for making some pretty cheap but decent performing tires. As I mentioned, the wheels are a BBS style 3-piece mesh or 2-piece. They might not even be BBS, but that style is an extremely popular one. You often see them on European cars, but people will put them on just about anything because they do look really good. As one final note about the GT86, there's something to be said about the fact that they're slow, and the chorus of the song is "No need to rush, my pace." So that was either a really good coincidence or that was intentional, I don't know. And next up, we have Why Not by Luna in the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. It only makes sense that a Korean sports car would appear in a K-pop music video at some point, and the Genesis Coupe from the Why Not music video did not disappoint. The Genesis was released back in 2010 to compete with the Nissan 370Z, and could be had with either a 2-liter turbocharged engine or a 3.8-liter V6. If that was all just words to you, let me provide you with some examples. The Genesis Coupe became reasonably popular while it was around for being an accessible, manual transmission rear-wheel drive car with powerful engine options. However, it was discontinued in 2016 when Hyundai decided to make Genesis its own standalone luxury brand. Why they didn't continue the car into the new brand is kind of beyond me, but the Genesis Coupe wasn't exactly a luxury car and Genesis was supposed to be a luxury brand, so it probably would have been a bit confusing, I don't know. Nevertheless, the car is still seen as a great value if you can find one in good condition, and still has a decent cult following to this day. As for the music video, the car actually doesn't get a ton of screen time as there's only a couple of shots of it doing donuts around Olivia Hay, but what we can see is that it has some form of aftermarket suspension, wheels, a big ass wing on the back, and some stupid looking vinyl decals. Like seriously, the Fast and the Furious came out 25 fucking years ago. What are we doing? Jackie doing more than one segment one day? What freaking timeline is this? Alright, before we dive into some heavy hitters, I wanted to come back to Stray Kids for a minute to talk about yet another GT86, this time being the one featured in the music video for God's Menu. As we can see, this version of the car is much different than its My Pace counterpart, having a very extravagant vinyl wrap and a wing on the back. However, what I want to talk about the most about this car are the wheels, which I am very confident are Volk TE37s. There's only one shot in the music video where you can even get a glimpse of the wheels at slow enough speed to tell what they are, and you can't even see any Volk logos on them, but I'm just that much of an autistic diva that I'm very confident that they're TE37s. I don't know if this is going to make sense to anybody, but the Volk TE37s are to aftermarket wheels what the Jordan ones are to shoes. They're very popular and they're a bit of a default choice for a luxury item of its category, but they're still cool enough to where you get excited every time you see them. I'm not a sneakerhead myself, like pretty much all I wear are Converse. I mean, just fucking look at me. The T37s are an extremely iconic wheel, dating back decades, and they're also very expensive, with the cheapest sets going for around $2,000 for a set of 4, and on the high end up to $4,000. In my opinion, they're a bit overrated and are kind of more of a status symbol than anything else, just to say, I have the money for Volks, but I don't really care. They still look good. And coming up next, we have La Di Da by Everglow featuring the Ferrari 458. Appearing briefly in this music video is the Ferrari 458 Italia, a truly tasteful choice. Designed by Italian design house Pininfarina, the 458 is often considered one of the most beautiful cars ever made, and having seen a few in person, it definitely is. Everyone loves Ferrari, whether it be their Formula 1 team, which is kind of hard to love at the moment, or their historic line of Grand Touring and supercars. Everyone's a Ferrari fan, even if they say they're not. Matter of fact, give me a second. It's the Italian pride flag. Forza Ferrari! Oh, they're so cooked this year, dude. You know, it's funny I say all this despite the fact that I'm literally wearing a Red Bull Racing shirt. The 458 is notable for being the last of Ferrari's flagship supercars to use a naturally aspirated engine, which means it doesn't make use of a turbo or supercharger. Being naturally aspirated gives the car a more linear power band, which has given it a cult-like status within the car community, with many people dubbing it the last good Ferrari supercar. The engine is also famous for its unique sound, coming from a flat plane crank 4.5 liter V8 revving to 9,000 RPM. If you have no idea what any of that means, just listen to this. And that's just how it sounds from the factory. With an aftermarket exhaust, it sounds even more insane. God, this song is so fucking stupid. Yeah, this song is really dumb, but it gets some redemption from the fact that it includes one of the most prestigious sports cars of the modern era. This is Two Baddies by NCT 127 featuring the Porsche 911 GT3. The GT3 was sold as a homologation special in order to be used in the GT3 racing series. Homologation is probably a word that you've never heard before, so let me explain what it means. Basically, if an automaker wants to use a car in a racing series, usually they have to sell a certain amount of that car to the public, whether it be a few hundred or a few thousand. This is why we have cars like the BMW M3, the Subaru WRX STI, and the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, just to name a few, and the 911 GT3 was one of them. Everything about the normal 911 is upgraded to near race car status. Racing seats, a huge rear wing, a roll cage in the RS models, sport suspension, and its famous 3.8 liter flat 6 engine, producing over 500 horsepower and revving all the way to 9,000 RPM. Much like the 458 from the previous section, actually. The GT3 has become very popular in recent years, mostly because they were once treated as the holy grail of road cars, and in some respects they still kind of are, so people latched onto them and they became kind of a clout status symbol, and for that reason they're kind of overrated in my opinion, but that's just me. A lot of people still love them, and if I'm being honest, it's for good reason. Now moving on to the penultimate section of the video, we have the Lamborghini Gallardo and Audi R8 featuring in Call Me Maybe by Call Me Maybe? I threw a wish in the well. Featuring in Call Me Baby by EXO. Featuring at the beginning of this music video are several cars actually, but the two that I want to talk about are the Lamborghini Gallardo and Audi R8. Okay, so story time. Lamborghini has been owned by a multitude of companies over its 63-year life, with the most recent and probably final owner being the VAG. The Volkswagen Audi group, guys, come on, we all knew that. Up to that point, Lamborghini had only been producing one model of car for the past 13 years, that being the Lamborghini Diablo. But now that they had the resources of the Germans at their disposal, they created the V10-powered Lamborghini Gallardo, a companion to the flagship V12-powered Murcielago. Now, at the same time, Audi were working on a supercar of their own, the R8. The R8 and the Gallardo were already built on the same platform, just with different bodies and whatnot, but in 2009, they started using the same engine, being the 5.2-liter V10 FSI, which is one of my favorite sounding engines in the history of ever. The R8 in particular was made famous for its inclusion in the Iron Man series, particularly the first and second, where it gets some proper spotlight scenes. In fact, Iron Man 2 was actually used as the launch vehicle for the V10 version, similar to how the Camaro was soft-launched in Transformers in 2007. In the Call Me Maybe music video, both of the models featured are spiders, which is the word used for convertible variants of most supercars. Why are they called that? No idea. Is it cool? Maybe. Is it pretentious? A little bit. And now for our final entry, we have 3 cars to talk about, all featuring in Deja Vu by ATEEZ. The music video for Deja Vu features several classic Japanese tuner cars in its parking garage sequences. Unlike the previous entries on this list, none of the cars here are super modified, so if you don't know what you're looking for, they'll be easy to miss. However, if you are into Japanese cars like I am, then these are a treat to see. Clearly, someone at KQ has taste. In this shot, we get a good view of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 7, or more commonly just called the Evo. I mean, honestly, looking at it, it could either be a 6 or a 7. That wasn't intentional, I swear! The Evo is Mitsubishi's in-house project car. Based on the FIA Group A rally car of the same name, the Evo is a homologation special, similar to the GT3 mentioned earlier, built and sold so that Mitsubishi could go rally racing. Rally being the motorsports equivalent of basically a giant obstacle course, with teams racing their cars through towns, forests, mountains, and even deserts to see who can do it the fastest. The series is very dangerous, which is why most people's exposure to it is seeing crash compilations here on YouTube. And just to ease everyone's minds, the drivers almost never get hurt. The Evo is very popular for modification, being most famous for its 2-liter turbocharged 4G63 engine. An engine so well built for power that even simple upgrades can make any Evo faster than the rally car it was based on. In the same shot as the Evo, we can also see a Nissan S13 180SX, which is usually just called a 180. The 180, sold in America as the 240SX, has been one of the most popular cars for drifting since the 1990s. Drifting is something you've likely at least heard of, but for the uninformed among you, drifting started in the mountains of Japan, where drivers would use a technique to get around the tight turns of the mountain passes as fast as possible. As the style gained popularity, it made its way into all sorts of media, being the focus of the anime Initial D and the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, as well as its own motorsport, Formula Drift. And finally, we have a Honda Civic EG hatchback. If you're not into cars, understanding why a 30-year-old Honda is cool might be a difficult task. Luckily for you, however, I'm gonna tell you why they are. Hondas are cheap, light, reliable, and most of all, fun. Their high-revving VTEC engines are a favorite for many. Jesus! And the K series is one of the most popular engine platforms ever made. I mean, it's what I have in my car, which means that anybody with some tools and some time and also some money can turn their Civic from this to this. And there we have it. That's the video. Finally. As you may have noticed, I've been on my typical bullshit of taking like several days to record a video that realistically should only take a day. But hey, that's just the life of someone with both ADHD and autism at the same time, so bad combo. But I promise you, my productivity is a lot better than it was back in 2022, and as I hope you can tell, my ability to speak and present has also improved. I can't guarantee that I'll be super active on this channel, so don't expect consistent uploads, but do expect that something will be coming because I love making videos and I love K-pop, so you know. And I do have a lot of ideas that I want to make videos on, including a sequel to one of my existing videos, so that one will be coming pretty soon. But otherwise, thank all of you for sticking around, all 10 of you who probably cared enough to watch a video about cars and K-pop music videos. Hopefully you had as much fun watching as I did making it, and I'll be sure to see you next time with whatever else I come up with. This has been Alexis from Seungkwannacry, signing off. See ya!
It's all up in my mind.